Everybody, we're just doing a quick sound test. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? I don't know if this is even on.
Yeah, they're on. There's no speakers.
No speaker? Okay. Is it good? We ready to go? Okay. Everybody ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, let's roll.
Let's roll.
Okay. Well, here we go again. Morning, everybody. I'm Stewart, and I want to announce today that I will be challenging Senator Tim Kaine this coming election year in 2018. You know, I was there in the inauguration day in 1989 when George H.W. Bush gave a speech, and I was disgusted. I was disgusted at the phrase, the kinder, gentler nation. I knew then it was the end of the Reagan Revolution, and I want to let you know that I'm going to run the most vicious, ruthless campaign to dethrone Tim Kaine from the United States Senate. It's time that Republicans take back that seat. It's time that we have a United States Senator who's going to support the president, not try to obstruct his way. We currently have a United States Senator in Tim Kaine who's doing everything in his power to stop the President of the United States from making the economy great again, from bringing back jobs, from reforming health care, and from making America great again. And I just want to let you know that is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to stand by the President of the United States, and we're going to win this campaign. And before I go further, I did want to introduce, and it's her birthday today, everybody. It's my wife, Maria.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Maria.
Woo!
So, I'll be happy to take any questions. Now, we filed our papers last night, I guess, and we're official. We're rolling.
What do you mean by more vicious, ruthless? Sounds kind of
Well,
mean.
we're going to see some of those details roll out, but we're not holding back on any punches. I'm going to go after them very, very hard. I think that Republicans have been playing by the Marcus of Queensberry rules for too long, and the Democrats have been fighting a UFC fight. It's time to stop it. We're going to punch back. Everybody knows I'm a fighter, and it's going to be a very vicious, ruthless race.
What did the state Republican Party say about your decision? Did they endorse it with on board from the start, or did they try to persuade you to do something else?
Tony, on this race, in the Senate race?
Yes.
I haven't talked to them.
Okay.
No.
So you know a number of Republicans are not happy with your timing on this, that they say that your focus should be on Ed Gillespie and supporting his team in their run for statewide office. I mean, what do you say to those complaints? That you're hurting
sure.
the Republican Party in Virginia by doing this now?
You know, the thing is that the primary election for the United States Senate is less than a year away. I can't wait until November to announce. That said, I'm not going to be going around stumping around the state and getting in the way of Ed Gillespie. I hope he wins. I'm voting for him. I'm encouraging all my supporters to vote for him and work for him. In fact, a lot of the people who worked on my campaign, I've encouraged to work on his campaign, and they will be working on his campaign and some of the other statewide candidates come November. Between now and November, between now and the election in November, I'll be spending most of my time, raising money, getting prepared, and in fact, we're going to have a very, very lean staff. The only campaign staff that we're going to be hiring up at this point are those who are necessary for fundraising, our treasurer, obviously, and other lean staff. So.
Would you have not done this had you not done it as well as you did in the primary?
Absolutely, I would not have done this if I had not done as well in the primary. I even told Maria, I said, look, I'm up or I'm out during the governor's race, and I meant that. I wanted to get back to my, focusing on my legal practice and so forth. But that night, it was so clear that we had spent so much work and effort over the past, not just during the time when I was actually running for governor myself, but during the Trump campaign, building connections. And clearly I've got a big base out there. It's pretty much all of Western Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, Southwest Virginia, South Side. We did very well in certain suburbs around Richmond. We won 60% of the vote here in Prince William County. We almost won Loudoun County, which not even us. We didn't even think we were going to get that close in Loudoun County. So clearly I've got a base. Clearly there's an appetite for a Republican fighter, and that's what I'm going to give people. I'm going to give them exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for a vicious, ruthless, Republican conservative fighter who's going to take back the United States Senate, and that's what I'm going to do.
Do you draw any parallels to your race and President Trump's race?
Well, I think, look, I've always been very similar to him. I mean, I've always said, I was Trump before Trump was Trump, and what I meant by that is we have some of the same characteristics. I speak my mind. There's no holds barred. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, especially in the local press. You know that. In a way, I felt liberated by President Trump's race because I'm like, holy smokes! I mean, just being yourself, not trying to be a stuffy Republican. You don't have to be a stuffy Republican in order to win. I'm not one. I speak my mind, and it worked for President Trump. It's going to work for me as well.
Corey, this morning, Senator Kaine and Senator Warner announced $4.2 million in federal funds dedicated to preserving historical battlefield sites in Virginia. Does that neutralize that issue at all for you?
Well, maybe they had to spend $4.2 million preserving historical monuments in Virginia. Those are the things that are under threat.
How much will we hear about that in your U.S. Senate campaign? Will that continue to be sort of a centerpiece, or will this be a different campaign in that regard?
Well, I mean, there are going to be different issues. I mean, clearly the monuments are more an obligation of the state to protect those monuments. We'll see. I'm not quite sure.
What about your potential colleagues among Senate Republicans? Are they doing enough at the moment to support President Trump and his agenda?
Certain Republican senators have been very, very good in supporting the president. Others have not, obviously. You're going to find me when I'm elected. I'll be part of the Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Senator Johnson out of Wisconsin. That conservative crowd who want to do the full appeal of Obamacare, for example, and replace it with a more market-oriented solution. There are going to be differences in the United States Senate, but I am a team player. I can work to get things done. I've done that as chairman of the board. That doesn't mean that we're going to agree all the time. And that doesn't mean we're not going to have our fights, because I'm a fighter. I love to be in the ring. I can't stand these last 4 weeks have been excruciating for me. Being outside of the ring is painful. I need to be back in it. But I want the Republican Party to know that when I'm elected, I'm going to be able to work with them. I'm going to be helping to move the Republican Party to the right and implementing the president's conservative agenda.
Are there any particular federal policy issues that resonate more with you besides the repealing and replacing Obamacare?
I think the number one job for Senate Republicans and members of the House and the President, we need to rebuild the economy. We need to bring back jobs. There's huge portions of the country, not just of Virginia, but across the country, and I just traveled across it. You get out the interstates in some of these states, and not too far, including Virginia, and you see just economic despair. And I think that's got to be the number one job of all of us, not just Republicans, but to bring back jobs, especially manufacturing. There is a movement more toward, and I do international trade for a living. There is a movement to bringing back onshoring more and more jobs, and I think that's something we need to encourage.
So you'll be competing against somebody who can raise a lot of money, and you'll be in a field with maybe of other Republican candidates who are good fundraisers. How will you differentiate yourself with particular donors? Is there anything different you'll do this time around that you didn't do?
Because he's got some supporters across the country who have given him a lot of money and who will continue to give him a lot of money. But he also has a lot of enemies now. And I think that his run for the vice presidency really hurt him. It damaged him. I think there are a lot of Democrats out there who frankly don't think that he did a very good job as Hillary Clinton's running mate. I think there are a lot of Democrats out there who are very disappointed in him and don't think that he has much of a future inside politics. And I know for a fact that there are Republicans across this country who are going to be looking for the candidate, the fighter, who will bring down Tim Kaine. I know that for a fact, and that's where we're going to receive a lot of our funding.
When you started your gubernatorial bid, you said your success was very much tied to President Trump's success in his new role.
Yeah.
And as you look ahead to this, we know he's still unpopular in Virginia. How big a concern is it for you, particularly with the Russia ties situation heating up even more? How much is that a worry as you move ahead, that that your close association with him could be a drag
Well,
on what you do.
Sure. So, you know, every morning when Virginians wake up, they worry about how they're going to support their families. They're worried about jobs. They're worried about their kids. They're worried about education. They're worried about their health care. They're not worried about Russia. Tim Kaine wakes up every morning and worries about Russia. Tim Kaine wakes up every morning and with a blind hatred toward the president is so focused on taking down the president of the United States that he's ignoring the true needs of Virginians and other Americans. And that is going to work to my benefit because people are looking for solutions. They're not looking for somebody who's just going to blindly try to stop the president of the United States from getting his job done.
But how much could the president's unpopularity in Virginia hurt you?
Yeah. So I think that as time goes on, as the economy begins to take off, as the president gets in some of his signature legislation, repealing Obamacare, replacing it with a more market-oriented solution, reducing taxes, bringing back jobs. As that happens over the next year, you're going to see that, and we've got over a year until the November election in 2018, that as the market starts to come back, as the economy starts to come back, as jobs come back, the president's approval ratings will rise throughout the country, especially here in Virginia.
What do you think of the investigation into possible
I think it's a bunch of bullocks. I think this is just an attempt to distract people, to try to distract the president. I hope the president maintains his focus on bringing back jobs, bringing back the economy. I think there's nothing there.
What do you think of the Senate health care bill, or the health care bill the Senate is considering right now?
Well, I don't like it. You know, it leaves too much of Obamacare on the table. It leaves especially the net investment income tax on the table, which is, you know, look, if you want to kill investment, if you want to kill growth, you tax investment. That's got to come off. I will never vote for a bill that maintains the investment tax. Also, I will be supporting Senator Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and Senator Johnson out of Wisconsin and Senator Rand Paul in a full repeal of Obamacare, and at a bare minimum allow insurance companies to provide health care insurance that doesn't necessarily have to provide for all the benefits that are currently required under Obamacare.
The healthcare bill right now would cut millions out of Medicaid, and Virginia, and particularly Prince William County, would hurt from those cuts. I mean, the school division alone receives $1 million in Medicaid funding for special needs kids. Do you support those Medicaid cuts?
I support the complete reform of Medicaid. Let me tell you something. Medicaid has been a disaster. Medicaid is too costly for the taxpayer. It doesn't provide a good service for those that it's supposed to serve, and it's not good for providers. And the reason is this: it's completely inefficient. It was placed in there in 1965. It has not been reformed. It's only become more costly and less efficient. So what I'm going to do, and I see this from a state perspective, I see this from a local perspective, this is what I'm going to be taking to the United States Senate, is that, you know, we need to do what we did with welfare reform in the 1990s, and that is this: we need to block grant Medicaid funding to the states, allow the states to develop their own health care systems for the poor, designed by, in the case of Virginia, designed by Virginians, for Virginians. It'll be more efficient, it'll bring down costs for the taxpayer, and it will ultimately provide a better service for Virginians.
On immigration, are these two bills that are before the Senate now, passed by the House last week, enough, or do we need Davis Oliver, and do you expect that to be passed by the time the campaign rolls around?
Well, we're going to be, look, I've got my own strong opinions on the issue of illegal immigration. And first, you've got to have border security. I'm going to support the wall. You've got to build a wall. I will do everything in my power. I'm going to be a very forceful voice for building the wall on the Mexican border. Second, we need to mandate the use of 287G to every locality, to every jail in the United States of America, and that is very simple. If somebody is arrested for a crime, you check their immigration status, and if they're here illegally, they're deported. That's my position.
other Republicans who really been talked about running in this race is Carly Marina, who obviously was very briefly Ted Griffith's running mate. Do you think the fact that she was sort of part, at least at one point, of, I guess, the never Trump camp, do you think that's something that will hurt her in a Republican primary? And
Carly?
between you and her? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, she hasn't announced. I know she's thinking about it, but she hasn't announced. So we'll leave that. My comments about her until then.
Will you endorse Ed Gillespie for governor?
I'm supporting him. I'm voting for him. I'm encouraging all of my everybody who supported me. I encourage all of them to go ahead and vote. Work for Ed Gillespie. Vote for him. You know, I'm not going to get in his way. I hope he wins. And you know, I've always thought that, look, endorsements from other politicians are kind of BS. They don't mean anything. They usually have it's a double-edged sword. And they obviously didn't have much of an effect in my race in Prince William County this last month when I had virtually every Republican elected official, you know, endorse against me, and I still won 60% of the vote. If they had endorsed me, I still would have won 60% of the vote. I don't believe in endorsements.
How much time will you spend, though, working on Ed Gillespie and the GOP ticket's behalf?
Well, I mean, he's got, you know, Ed hasn't asked me for his help, but when he does, I'll be there to help him.
Will you attend every Prince William Board of Supervisors meeting going forward? I did hear from some supervisors who were frustrated that, you know, you'll be on the campaign trail again, and they say not focused on Prince William County.
Well, I get to almost all the meetings. I didn't miss, I missed the one on Tuesday because the flight was canceled.
So you finished.
Plus, a lot of them don't even like me. I don't know why they want me there.
You finished almost 20 points ahead of most of the polling in the gubernatorial primary. What do you think that most of the polling agencies missed?
I think polls are BS. I mean, I think the problem with the polls is that, and some think it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional. I think that we're you know, the problem with the poll is you've got to know what the universe is. You have to know what the voting universe is. And 2016 changed everything. Everything. So many people who were never active in the primary process on the Republican side were energized and activated by President Trump. They're not going home. I think what we found out on June 13th was that they're still out there. They're not going to let the establishment take back the party, that they want to control our party, and they're not going away. And I think that when, you know, there was only one polling organization that was called, I can't recall the name of it, that got it right, or close to being right. And it was called Progress Change or Change Progress, one of those two things. And they need, the thing is that no one knows who's going to be showing up going forward because the voting universe has been changed so much.
And then do you agree, there seems to be some criticism, there was in a Washington Post story this morning, that Gillespie needs to do more to embrace Trump or to win over those Trump voters that you said turned out for you in the primary. Yeah. I mean, do you agree with that critique that he needs to do more there?
To get the Trump voters out? Absolutely. You know, and look, you know, my advice to him in private is the same. You know, it's the same that I give to the Washington Post, which is he needs to go out there and he needs to beat the hell out of Ralph Northam. People are looking for a fighter. They want an aggressive Republican who's going to run a vicious, ruthless race to retake the governorship, and that's what they want for the United States Senate as well. And that's what Ed should do, in my humble opinion.
Is he holding the president too much at arm's length right now? That's sort of the strategy. What would you say about how navigate that?
Well, I think that he should embrace the president more. I really do. I think that there's just the polls are wrong. We're wrong about my race. I think the polling is wrong about the president's approval rating as well. I think there are a lot of Virginians out there who are not normally polled, who believe that the president's doing a good job, that they believe he's on the right path, and they're confident that eventually he's going to be able to implement his agenda of bringing back jobs and rebuilding the economy. So just one more question, and I'll be hanging around, but one more question.
Corey, you mentioned embracing, President Trump. Certainly in the primary, he didn't come and campaign for you, or perhaps send any of the family members. Is that something that you'd be interested in when it comes to the primary and potentially the general in this race?
Absolutely, I'd love to have him, or any members of the family with me, and I would welcome that. I do want to make it clear I'm running this race. I'm my own man. I admire President Trump. I supported him. I worked on his campaign for 10 months. But I am my own person after all, but I think he's doing a great job, and I'm going to be standing with him when I'm a United States Senator, and I'm going to be standing with him throughout the campaign as well. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll be hanging around.
Thanks, Corey.